y'all. Okay, so ending out July, I thought I would bring you two books about rest. Since we're talking about renewal and all of that kind of stuff, I was thinking like I have two books that would be amazing to talk about. So let me break them down. But first, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Hey guys. Hey guys, my name is Sonja. I'm with SonjaWCoaching, where we help just awesome go-getter women who have big dreams that they're pursuing. We help them learn how to acknowledge their dreams, align their lives with their values, because that's how you're gonna get to those dreams, and then teach you how to build a life that helps you make those dreams actually meet reality. So yes, so I told you that we're in this season of renewal this month, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to go into this new season, this second half of the year, with all of our stuff, with everything that we need. And I wanted to end out this month with another book review. I had started doing book reviews. I think I'm gonna continue to do this because I read a lot of books. I really do. I love books. Besides the Bible, I love books. And I wanted to give you two books about rest that I thought were really pivotal for me in understanding the importance of rest and the importance of taking care of my body and my mind and my soul and all those different things. And the two books that I'm going to be talking about are Subversive Sabbath, The Surprising Power of Rest in a Non-Stop World by A.J. Swabuda. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'll have it in a link below. And then Sacred Rest. Recover your life, renew your energy, restore your sanity by Dr. Sandra Dalton-Smith. And y'all, she's a Black woman, so you know. And I actually have a copy of the book. I don't have a physical copy of Subversive Sabbath because I listen to that on Audible. I've talked about this before. I love Audible because it allows me to read more books or listen to more books, I guess. But actually, a friend of mine actually bought this book for me. Very, very thankful for that. But so I'll kind of like pull a little bit of this out. I actually might go ahead and give you a couple of quotes from it because I didn't think about that, but I might, because this book's really good. And there was a lot of good stuff in here. So anyway, so let me break down these two books. So the first one I'm going to talk a little bit about is Subversive Sabbath. Now, this book was pretty interesting for me. Like, it really broke down the importance of Sabbath, what has happened in our world surrounding Sabbath, how we don't take care of it, how we do not rest as we should, and how it was perverted in the beginning with the fall of man and all of this kind of stuff, but then how we can get back to a Sabbath living life, or a life and the power of it. And there was just so many big things, and I'm like looking at my notes to try to figure out what I really want to talk about. A couple of things that he mentioned was that in the very beginning, Sabbath and work. Work was in service to God. Work was kind of like all worship to God. And when we fell, when Adam and Eve fell, the purpose of work kind of shifted. But the Lord came to redeem that. And we have the ability to work towards redeeming work and also Sabbath. And he talks about how the Sabbath is a way to redeem our work and also redeem our bodies. Like, I've talked about this in other videos, but it's so important that we Sabbath, and it's so awesome that our Lord, our God, thought about that. The one of the scriptures, one of the things that Jesus said is that Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So Sabbath was made for us because God knew that we needed it. God was like, woo, child, my children, y'all need to rest. And if I don't give this to you, you're not going to take it. If I do not mandate this, you're not going to take it. Because work has become kind of like this thing that we got to do. Like, if we're doing well. If we're doing, we are good, right? God has brought the Sabbath to disrupt that thought. a key quote that I learned from that. I love one of the things that he talks about is that he says that we see that human effort thinks that all that the more we do, the better we are. The more we do, the better that we are, and the more we do means that God is doing more. But God don't need us to do anything more. God doesn't need us to do anything, and that in our doing, we are no better or worse. And that's the key thing about the Sabbath, because if you've ever noticed, when you try to do nothing, you feel funny, right? Like you feel like, oh, I got to be moving. Oh, I need to be doing something. But Sabbath is meant to break that itch that we're like, oh my God, I can't just sit still. This is weird. I can't do it, right? So obeying the Sabbath is a way to break that in us and to really set us focused on our God, our Savior. The final thing, which I thought was really cool that he talked about, and it was interesting, and I don't, I'll be honest, I don't know how I fully feel about it, but when you think about it, I think it's kind of cool. The whole idea that Sabbath can truly be an economic justice, that it can bring about economic justice. And he talks about how we're in a society where we're always going, where everything is always open, where everybody is always working. And when we are in a society where that happens, it affects the poorest of the poor, the people who have to work I don't know, the fast food jobs that stay open all the time, or have to do 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. But if we are to obey the Sabbath, if we obey the Sabbath as a society, then we would see a form of economic justice, that those who have to work 24/7 don't have to anymore, that they actually can take proper rest, because the way that our lives are set up right now don't allow for that. So he talks about that in this book. This book was truly challenging for me and truly made me think about the Sabbath and what it does, and the importance of it. And now the second book that really got me was this Sacred Rest by Dr. Sandra. And I just really, really loved it. And I wanted to break down a couple of things that really stuck out to me in this book as well. So, in this book, she had this acronym that we should live by, and it was REST. She said that we should be doing this in every area of our life. So I kind of love that, because I already think about our lives in different areas. Now, she breaks down several more areas in this book than what I talk about. But she says that it's so important to actually take a moment to recognize the risk. Evaluate our situation, our current position. Where are we? What's happening? Kind of reminds me of the Be Rare acronym. But anyway, so evaluate. Then S is science and research. What does science and research say about what you're doing, about what you need in this season and in this time? And then finally, today's application. How can you apply this application to your life? And I'm trying to make sure I get it right, because I see the different things. And then I also love this book because she breaks it down in several different ways. And I'm going to kind of go through the contents about it. She breaks down the book into 2 parts, right? Why rest? And then she literally breaks down the book with different chapters on the different areas of rest that we should be paying attention to. Physical rest, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, sensory, creativity or creative rest, and give it a rest. So give time, give yourself a rest. So I love that she actually breaks down each one of those things, and she goes through that rest acronym for each area. So for instance, with physical rest, right? Recognize your risk. Well, what's your risk? Are you a really busy person? For me, I know I have lots of different responsibilities, so I gotta recognize my certain risk in physical in my physical body. Then evaluating where I am. Well, what's going on with my body? Does my knee hurt? Are my shoulders hurting? Am I tense? Do I need to, like, stretch? What's going on? And then science and research. What does the science and research say about what I should be doing? Should I be sleeping? What is the actual thing that I need to be doing? And then finally, today's application. What am I going to do today, or what am I going to apply in my today to help mitigate or actually start the rest that I need? So I thought that this book was just so key, so awesome. And I think one of the things that really hit me was I actually started in the book The Gift of Art 173. Let's see what I had to say about that, or what I read when I read that. So it talks about the importance of actually using these gifts that we have. And she goes through a lot of gifts like freedom, acceptance, exchange, permission, cessation, art, and all that kind of stuff. And she actually mentions in this chapter, I remember it now, about how we can use art as rest, how we can do something with our hands. Maybe it's draw, maybe it's uh, sculpting or cooking or photography or something like that. And I was just thinking about, I actually have adult coloring books, and I love coloring. And you know what? I actually haven't done that a lot recently. So I think I might bring that on my vacation when I go this year. But having that chance to use art as rest is so important, and that really resonated with me. This book was just so good, and the way that it's broken down is so beautiful. So I really encourage you to read both of these books, Subversive Sabbath, and then also Sacred Rest by Dr. Dalton-Smith. And I hope that these two books are helpful for you in realizing the importance of rest and how it can renew your body and renew what you're going through and what you're doing. So, anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful for you. I'll have several links below. I'll have links to both of those books that I talked about. And if you're serious about getting on this whole intentional living pursuit journey, whatever it is, then go ahead and join my email list. And let me tell you something. When you join my email list, it's not just, weekly emails or whatever like that. I actually give you this 10-minute lesson, or access to this 10-minute life audit lesson that will help you figure out, well, where are you and where do you need to be to actually live the life that you say that you want. All right. So anyway, I hope that this was good for you. Go ahead and check out all those links below, and y'all have a great day wherever you are.